All right, good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing? So give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right, good deal. All right, so we took a little break last week and went to one of the new builders in town. Great turnout. I think we had like 10 or 12 people that showed up. There was a couple of extras that showed up that are new to the team. And then, of course, the builder themselves actually brought, good Lord, I think they had like 5 or 6 people. They brought the construction manager. They brought agents from 2 other communities, maybe 3. And they kind of gave us a rundown. First America, I guess they've been in San Antonio about 14, 15 months now. And they're trying to win over realtors. They're offering all kinds of stuff to kind of keep our attention. So they had a really nice layout for breakfast, really good tacos, cupcakes, pastries, you name it. They had everything there. So all the people that showed up, I appreciate you guys coming out. I'm sure you had fun and learned a lot. First America's, they're trying to go the extra mile. They do a little bit of different build coming out of Houston. One of the big things they promoted was how much stronger the houses are based on the hurricane. The way they construct for hurricanes in Houston, they use the exact same construction here in San Antonio, even though we don't deal with any of those really strong weather phenomena. But it was good turnout, good event. And I hope everybody kind of sees when you're working with new builds, that's kind of the entire concept, right? Everybody gets started with new builds and they kind of think, well, what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is getting in good with these sales reps, having them think about you first. And the more you go to different things with them, the more you plan with them, the more you talk. Hopefully, a lot of the questions you heard me asking them, you realize those are the type of questions you're going to have to ask every time. I'll get into this after we go through with everyone's wins for the week, but I'm going to kind of jump in on the assignments going forward because a lot of them are going to be self-paced. And I wanted to kind of make sure I recorded an orientation video, but I want everybody to take a look at it because I think after hearing a lot of people, and it's interesting how many people have been asking for like mastermind mindset training, different things about, how to stay motivated and focused. And it's interesting to me because for me, you just got to think outside yourself. And I think the interesting part about really the only thing a team, a coach, a mentor, any of those things, it's really just more about accountability. Like that will help you become more accountable, but it's not going to do the work for you. So I tell people when I was training people in fitness, I mean, I can give you the plan, but I can't do the push-ups for you. And so a lot of people look at like all the stuff that I set up for you guys. Like if you look at the key performance indicators, if you look at the fact that I set up the mastermind, if you look at the fact that we have a template that goes out every single week. I don't think everyone thinks about this, but if you do, I want you guys to think about this and take this very seriously. We've been doing this for almost 20 weeks. Can any of you remember a single time you didn't receive an email or text message from me reminding you to come and do this? So think about that. I'm just one person, but I don't miss. I don't make a mistake. When it happens, people are shocked. They're like, whoa, you didn't remind us. You didn't do this. It's like, well, if I didn't remember, would you remember to do this anyway? And I think that's the point I'm trying to make to everybody. Like, I'm showing you my structure so that you can model a structure. I'm not a supervisor. I'm not your boss. Everyone runs basically their own business. So if you think about that, I'm running my own business too. I just do it from a team leader perspective versus and a coach perspective versus just an agent perspective. But as an agent, everything that I'm showing you guys, this is your business. You don't report these numbers for me. You're not sending these assignments for me. This stuff is for you guys. This is what you should be doing even after we are no longer working together. You should be able to have a pipeline where you're tracking your key performance indicators. How well are you doing with your leads? How well are you doing with the appointments? How well are you doing with the signatures? And getting the transaction closed and tracking to see what your ROI is and what is getting you the biggest bang for the buck. These are all things that you should be doing even after you work with me. And I think a lot of people, if they need the extra accountability, of course, they're going to stay. But if you're doing this with the thought that, hey, I'm doing these assignments for Julian because he's asking for them, kind of like a homework assignment from a teacher, it's not for me, it's for you. And I think if people realize that as they go forward, it's more of a the accountability. Yes, that's why we do this, because we want other people to hear our wins. We also want to see other people doing well, and it gives you a place to go and have camaraderie and all that. So that's why we do some of these meetings. We go live to some of these builders. All that's great, but in the end, it's your business, and I'm just showing you a structure that I have. If you go to any one of the top producers in the industry and you watch what they're doing, they all have exactly what I'm showing you. They have a different version of it, but they have it. And I get some people will probably always be part of a team because they don't want to go through the extra structure, and that's great. But just remember, it's for you. It's not necessarily for the team leaders or the brokers. It's for you. And if you structure your business this way, you'll notice that you're always going to have success, because you're holding yourself accountable as much as the team leader or whoever else is doing that. So with that, we'll get started. I know Tanya's with us here. You want to add anything? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say my connection's pretty slow, so I don't know if I'll be able to add, if you might connect, if you can hear me or not.
Oh, we can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. It's like on and off. But no, I totally agree about the accountability. I think that it is super important, and that's why everybody's here, right? At the end of the day. And there's a ton of mindset things you could do on YouTube, and you even sent that text the other day about the video. So
Yep. And when I went into the mindset training, a lot of people who sat through my GPS training, it's a lot of the same stuff. But the overall concept for me is there's this phrase that people have been using for years, and I keep hearing it, but people never produce. And it's called manifestation. And every time I hear that word, I just laugh, because people assume that, it's the secret came out, God, I can't remember, 15 years ago or so. And so many people would talk about The Secret. Oh, I heard, did you watch The Secret? Did you see The Secret? I'm like, well, the people who are in The Secret, I've been listening to for 10, 15 years before there was ever a secret. I've been listening to this stuff since 1990, when I was at a gym, massive gym. When the Bally's was offering $9.99 a month memberships, this gym was offering $74. I was working there, and they had what they called the mental gym. So you go into this big glass place with a bunch of CDs back then, and you just look. And I found out about Bob Proctor, Jack Canfield, Napoleon Hill. I mean, I just started putting my car became a library on wheels, basically. And I would just listen to these CDs no matter where I was going. That became the white noise in the background. I turned off all the music. I never listened to music for probably 10 years. When I was on my road trips going back from San Antonio to Idaho, if I was driving from Idaho to Vegas, all I would do is just let my CDs play over and over and over. And it starts to replace all that weird noise you hear. I was just laughing about it earlier because I was on Facebook, and I realized how many times I respond to people who have this nonsense going on. And I'm like, that's exactly why I used to play the CDs. So I would not focus on the nonsense. But I'm like, now I got to figure out how to come up with a way to find pages on Facebook where you're only seeing positive. I don't think you're going to find it. It's like going through the grocery store, and as you get closer to the cash register, they used to have the National Enquirer and all the tabloids, and they sell more magazines than all the other ones on the stands combined. People just like the trash. I remember that song came out years ago called Dirty Laundry, and people just like to hear the dirty laundry. So we all get caught up in it. But I found that the trick at the time was just turn off the radio on my car, put in my CDs, and just listen to the positive stuff. So Mastermind it's a big deal. But when you think about manifestation, the big thing that I have to remind people is there's a law of vibration and the law of attraction. That's how you manifest. Most people, when they watch The Secret, they think of manifestation as just the law of vibration. And they think, okay, if I think really good things will happen for me. If I just stay in a great mindset, it's going to make things work. And then 2 years later, they're seriously depressed. And they're like, I don't understand it. I've been thinking all these positive things and nothing ever happened. And that's where I put the second piece in there, the law of attraction. Unfortunately, The Secret confused people. They called it the law of attraction when it was actually the law of vibration. Bob Proctor did an epilogue at the end and said, I have to explain the difference because I don't think people understand. And it did. It messed a lot of people up. They were like, the law of attraction was for me to think really good things. And if I think about it, I'll bring it about. It's like, no. So my second part to that entire concept, and if you watch the video, it's a whole hour worth of hearing this type of stuff. But my thought process is you got to get off your assets and go get it. So there is no attraction without action. You can think all the great things in the world. You can notice all the great things. You can have all the great vibrations. But until you realize, hey, now I'm in this mindset. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but that conference is coming down here, Dash, October 9th. I signed up for it. See, that's the law of attraction and the law of vibration. I'm like, I'd like to have access to some of this stuff too, but I ain't driving all the way to freaking Vegas. And next thing you know, I notice the thing, oh, they're going to be in Texas. Yeah, probably in Austin or Houston or Dallas, one of the bigger cities. No, they're doing all four. So I'm in the vibration to notice it. I saw it, but I didn't have to sign up. And other people, oh, it's not meant for me. Why not? So I'm signed up. They'll be here in San Antonio, October 9th. It's an all-day thing from 9 to 5. I'm going to do everything in my power to get there. So I got to get up off my assets and go get in front of those people so I can get that information. And then I have to take action based on what they tell me. But I could sit there in the audience and just listen to them and go, more good vibrations. Yay. I promise you, it ain't going to make me any money. So you got to take it to that next level. But y'all get off my soapbox here.
Yeah, I actually signed up for that too. I'm kind of interested to see what it's about. But it's cool. I mean, like when you get an opportunity, you have to jump on it, right?
Yep.
And it does require some sacrifices like on your time and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if you actually go and put your best foot forward and then take action with the positive mindset, like all of that combined together really is what makes it. If you can go and have a negative mindset, like, why am I here the whole time, right?
That's exactly it.
And that's not going to work out either. So you have to have both. And it's funny that you said that about the radio. That just happened to me this morning because my husband listens to the radio, and he was in the car before me and I got in, and I wasn't even paying attention, and I heard some stupid, like, I don't know, they were like going off on something. I'm like, why am I listening to this? Because I always listen to podcasts and stuff. Like, this is so stupid. Why do they even have the radio?
Yeah, and that little bit of distraction is enough to throw you off for who knows how long. You got to figure out how to get back on track, right? So
yeah. And 2 books that I would recommend, like, about mindset is The Science of Getting Rich. That one is a lot about, like, just thinking.
That's
and
Wallace Wattles.
Yeah. Yep. And then it's super quick. It's like a 2-hour listen on the Libby app. And then the other one was The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel-Shin, I think, something like that. But both of those are really good.
Yeah, Wallace Wattles is what his book is based on. The Secret is based on his book. So a lot of people don't know that, but that's what they're talking about throughout that entire movie. If you watch it, you'll see what it's really about. Or you can listen to it or read it. But no, absolutely great recommendations. All right, well, let's get the show on the road. I know we have a lot of people that are out and about getting stuff done. So we'll get this stuff knocked out here. We got 4 people that had content to contribute. So we'll go with that first. And then we'll talk a bit about the next assignment and how to look forward to the 52-week roadmap. All right, so looks like first up is Evangeline. We'll bring her up. Looks like you had a couple of closings. Just walk us through how did you get those, and give us kind of a story about those folks that you were able to get to closing.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
So I was out of town last week for a wedding, so I didn't get to do a lot of the assignment, but I had a closing from a buyer that came in from California a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And we closed on his home, and he's actually planning on start working as a flipper in January. So he told us that he will contact us again to help him get some properties to flip when he gets here.
All right. So he has you looking for the properties, and he's going to ask you to list them for him as well?
Yes.
Oh, good deal.
Yeah. And then the listing that we had a couple of weeks ago, that one went under contract, and we closed on that one yesterday. And then we're closing on, and so they're buying a home as well. So we're going to either close on that one tomorrow or Monday. Monday is the scheduled date, but they're trying to push for tomorrow.
Gotcha. Outstanding.
So they can have the weekend to move. So. And
how did you pick up both of these deals?
Spears, the California guy, his son is our friend, And so he referred his father, and then the listing and the other buyer, they're also our friends.
So, and I hope everybody's starting to hear this. I say it over and over and over again, but you're trying to take your sphere of influence and you're not just looking at them for potential business personally, but they become part of your marketing army. If you stay in front of them, you remind them that you're in the business, then they're going to remind other people as well. And I think, Evangeline is doing a fantastic job with that. As much as people are saying the market is slow, how much higher is your conversion rate when you're working with sphere of influence referrals? Close to 100%, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So people are like, well, I don't want to work with cold leads. Well, then start bringing in the cold leads so that they become your sphere of influence. Once they see you as a friend, because you're not always like trying to target them as a buyer or a seller. They're like, well, good Lord, every time you reach out, it's only to find out if I want to buy or sell a house. Like, no, approach them kind of like I'm trying to develop a friendship with you. And I'm just letting you know what I do. And if you know anyone who could use my resources, hey, I'm glad to be the resource for them. Matter of fact, what do you do? Hey, if you have a business, I'm more than happy to refer people to you as well. And a lot of times the law of reciprocity is what's going to take effect there. But obviously, Evangeline, you do a really good job with that because, people are saying not only are we going to do business with you, but we're going to continue doing business with you. And you're picking up referrals. And then the referrals are saying, yeah, this is definitely our agent. But that's how you stay in the know and stay on top of the game, by treating people as more like your friends, because you're not looking at them just as a cold lead. So, but great job. Great job.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we got Sherry. Looks like you actually got a chance to do the assignment. So walk us through that. And then, walk us through. Looks like you got quite a couple of leads here and had an interesting week. So,
yes, I did have a good week. My buyer is from my sphere of influence. Her parents, I've actually been their buyer agent on a couple of properties that they've bought. And this is their daughter. And they're in a house right now. They're trying to decide whether they want to keep it. I've already had them go through the process of talking to a lender to see if they could afford to keep the house they have and just rent it, and qualify for the new house. And they're trying to decide if they're going to keep it or if we're going to list that. And then we're looking at finding them. They started out, and I still don't know. We're looking at new bills. We're kind of all over the place. She's kind of in one spot and he's in another spot. And so he wants a little more property and she wants a new house. So that's where we are on that one. And then on the seller, actually here's the power of your name tag being on you when you're out and about. But I was having a pedicure, and the little girl doing my pedicure saw that I was an agent and started talking to me. And she's like, my husband and I have a property. We bought it. We thought we were going to build there someday. We're not going to build. So she wanted me, I'm running comps for her, and we're going to discuss listing it. So, and that was from a name tag.
There you go.
She did not know me. So,
right. Isn't that interesting? So a lot of people like branding, like my acronym is BLAST or blast off, but I start with the blue part, but it's branding and then lead generation. So to me, those are like the marketing pieces. But if you're branding yourself properly, and I don't even use a name tag anymore, but sometimes I'm looking for clients, sometimes I'm not. But you make a good point. If you always have your name tag on, what I used to do sometimes was put it upside down on purpose and see if people would correct it. Hey, you got your name tag upside down. Like, oh, so they noticed. I'll be like, oh, thank you so much. Like, so you in real estate? Yeah, just be a conversation starter. But yeah, if you get that conversation started, you have your marketing material. There's reasons for wearing T-shirts. There's reasons for wearing button downs. There's reasons for having, your business cards. People are going to look for your brand on Facebook. Look for your brand on YouTube. So if all that stuff is congruent and consistent, then obviously, if you pick up one or two leads here or there from your branding, obviously that's just going to add to the game. Now you're going to add them to your sphere of influence. You're going to make them part of the family. If they're not ready to buy right away, then of course you're still going to market to them and let them know that you can help anyone and everyone that they know as well, in addition to helping them just like you just discussed. Now, I see you also did the assignment. remind us what it was, because I don't know if I'm
exactly. I think I was on week 16, no, or 18.
On 18.
I don't even know. We skipped around so much. I'm like, I felt like I've done some of these twice, but that's okay too. You know? So I do want to ask you, and I don't know if this is the place, and you can tell me if we need to talk on a different deal, but the iBuyer thing, I've never used that. And do you have to, I know it can't be an MLS. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah,
So
if you're going to use it, it has to be ahead of. You have to start with the iBuyers first, because once you put it on the MLS, I think you got to wait 6 months after it's off the MLS before you can even look at the iBuyer again. But it is part of the strategy.
What if because someone else had a property, and I've got somebody talking to me, and I kind of thought about this because I thought, well, that might be a good way to even try this out, but the listing expired, and they were talking to me, and I was like, that might be a good chance for me to use the iBuyer and just see what they would come up with, and me do the net sheet and say, look, here's what we can do, or we can put it in MLS, and but it hasn't been 6 months, but it wasn't my listing, it was someone else had it listed.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, I would probably still run it. They may not necessarily, the iBuyer platform may not allow you to actually make them an offer, but you can still run the numbers if they will, do the report, because some of them produce a report automatically. And the report comes back and says, it's a $300,000 house, but the iBuyers are willing to offer $275,000, and the client's like, yeah, we were told it's going to cost us $30,000 worth of repairs to get it up to the $300,000 mark. We might be glad taking $275,000. So that's kind of the way I use it. Is I like to introduce the iBuyer numbers early, so they're like, that's not enough for us. And then is
there a limit on what they would like price wise? What they would?
It's hard to say. So some of the iBuyer platforms are single, like OfferPad. Some of the other ones, like with our brokerage, Zoodealio has like multiple investors. So you might see like 3 bids come in. One may say 275, one may say 269, one may say 271. So you're basically going to let your client know you may be looking for X amount of dollars, but when an investor offers you this is what you're going to take home. Versus I might be able to put on the market for $30,000 more and bring you back an additional $10,000. But a lot of times they're I would call them like not necessarily wholesale prices, but more like a investor special type prices. So a lot of times the iBuyers are going to offer what an investor would offer, because they are investors. They're looking for a deal. So.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I kind of went back and was looking at the iBuyer thing, because I thought, this, that and also I think the lease to own is not something I have done either. And so I do think that, there's definitely a niche for that. So that's something else I want to delve into a little more.
Yeah, and the training's on there. And the good thing about listing a lease to own, a lot of times they will come to you thinking that they don't qualify for a house.
Right.
And then you check on the numbers, and you're like, you know what? If you're flexible on location, we might be able to get you into a USDA community. They're like, really? Is my credit good enough? And they're like, well, what's your credit? It's only a 660. You're like, yeah, let's take a look at USDA, right? So as experts, we have to always be thinking, like, how do we qualify them first before we make any decisions? I don't like when people say, well, let me turn you over to my lender, because if that lender can't do it, then lease to own would have been a better option. Maybe USDA new builds would have been a better option, et cetera. Yeah, go ahead.
I will say at the model the other day, I was literally shocked that they would let somebody sign a contract and work on their credit. That was pretty amazing.
Right. And so
I don't know anybody, other builder, that will do that.
They used to. D.R. Horton 4 years ago, they put it on the market in a heartbeat. They have what they call the Home Buyers Club. So that's when he brought that up. That's why I wanted you guys to hear it, because I used to do a lot of deals like that. We had 18 deals in 18 months. Like so many, they said if they can get them closing them, and if they could see where their credit would be improved enough to get them up, they could come in at a 609. They're like, well, if they get them up to a 620, we can get them, down payment assistance. We're like, okay, how long is that going to take? Well, for this client, it's going to take 3 months, but as long as it was within 9 to 12 months, they're like, we'll go ahead and put them under contract and lock in everything for them, We had that happen
Yeah.
for a lot of people, but they stopped. So as soon as he said that with First American, that's why I wanted you guys to hear. I want to make sure he brought it up over and over again. But I'm glad you got something out of that, because that was exactly the purpose of going out there.
Yes, absolutely. So I still want to go to one of the communities further out and walk some of the properties, because they said they're going to come to New Braunfels eventually, and I want to be ready. I want to be the agent that knows that already when they get here.
And it's crazy because, as you heard, they have 30-foot products, but they also have 45. And I think that compares with Perry Homes and Highlands lower end product. But the finish outs and all that are commensurate to me, and the prices are still about 50 grand lower. So, great community.
Price point was awesome. So
that's kind of the whole point of going out in the field. And I'm glad you got something out of it, because that's the whole point of hosting it. And I think First America is a great option right now. Who knows what it'll be like in the future, but right now they're offering a lot, and they're giving incentives for realtors. So.
Yes, and I also got to meet. I sat right next to Lakeisha, and she and I got to meet and exchange cards, and so that was nice too.
Absolutely right. So a lot of people ask me, like, well, do we have a place we can meet from camaraderie? I'm like, I like going to new builds instead. They're like, well, I haven't been to one, but you got to see what it's like, right? You come to one of those events, and it's like, oh, everybody feels like part of the team. My coaching students from earlier this year, they told me, like, even though we're not part of your coaching program, can we still keep coming to your meetings? I'm like, would that be fair? they're like, we just miss your team. I'm like, okay, well, join the team. but no, we like meeting to just, it's not always convenient, but I like to do at least like once a quarter minimum. And then, of course, my events every month. So, between those two things, we have a reason to meet. Last year, toward the end of the year, we did meet up at a Blue Prime Steakhouse. Everybody was invited. So we'll probably do another event like that for like agent appreciation or something.
All right. Thanks.
All right, Sherry. Thanks for your
I just wanted to add too that I love the name tag story about the salon, because that actually happened to one of my an agent on my team too. She said she went to the nail salon and they already listed their house, but they ended up they're wanting to cancel their listing so that they can list with my agent who just met her at the nail salon. So it's kind of crazy.
I've also had that happen at HEB. I mean, it does work, and I got told that I don't know, something that I was at that were like, you're an agent and you need to have, and I'm like you, Julian. I'm like, if I'm from a smaller town where everybody knows me, I'm like, I'm not wearing a name tag. People know who I am, but guess what? Not everybody knows who you are. Yep. So
don't be a secret agent. That's every way you can brand yourself, get it out there. If you're trying to get more business, use every single advantage you can. So, all right, good stuff. All right, thanks, Eric. All right, looks like I don't see Brianna on the call here, but I do see Lakeisha. So, looks like you have 2 entries and a lot of leads. So I want to know exactly what's going on with Lakeisha here. All right, so Lakeisha, looks like you're making a few fans here and there. Yeah, good morning.
Yes, good morning. I just updated it, actually. Did you get the update?
Yeah, I just saw it's 11 leads and
okay.
Appointments.
Okay. So I did an open house last weekend for one of my partners in real estate. And so I'm helping him with his listing, which we actually got an offer yesterday. So the open house gave me, I put it on listings to leads. I think it was my first time ever doing that. And I got 8 leads from it. Bingo. And all the phone numbers were correct. Thank God.
Right.
Which is unheard of. And so I also went out in that neighborhood and did what you did when I first met you at your open house, Julian.
The flyers.
I went around and I put out like 40 flyers, and I ended up talking to 2 of the neighbors, and they are looking to sell their home. One will reach out to me later on in the year, but I'm still going to keep something going to keep me top of the mind. And the other one is looking to list here, in a few months.
There you go. So
yep.
The craziest part is, like, well, my strategy on the ultimate open house. A lot of people don't realize. Now you've done a couple, so you know, like it is a lot of work the first time you do it because you're not used to doing it the right way. Everybody's like, I never had to do all that stuff. I'm like, what? And how much business did you get? Like, in my open house training, I always ask the question, how many people have gotten 0 people at an open house? Everyone in the room raised their hand. And I'm like, the last time I had 0 people show up to open house, 2006. I've never had 0 people show up since then because I took it upon myself to be like, well, what are all the best strategies? And I started going to different trainings. I started talking to people. I would go to other people's open houses and I'm like, oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. I love that. And I just started doing all these things. And I added from my little checklist of 8 items. Now it's 108 items. Like my check, and it's a 1.5 page marketing plan with instructions. And so some of the big things you can do, obviously, are the flags. Your signage has to have certain things on it. But what Lakeisha just brought up with listings to leads, that's also on my checklist. So I talk about the virtual open house. I talk about how to set up the virtual portion. Even if you're not doing just virtual, you can do virtual in conjunction with a live open house. And the way I do that is through listings to leads. So for anyone who's like trying to figure out like what exactly is the purpose of listings to leads, I pick up leads before I even have the open house. And as Lakeisha just said, 8 people with 8 phone numbers. Now, we don't know how many of those are going to be willing to do something today or a year from now, but it doesn't really matter. You're now, again, adding people to your sphere of influence, and you're working them the same way you should work the process from A to Z. Every time you get leads, you put them in the funnel, you put them in your pipeline, and you follow the same pattern over and over and over and over until you've mastered it. And that's literally how businesses work. So if you think about it from that perspective, Lakeisha's got this system down now, and I think you're starting to see the true benefit of having systems in place, right?
Yes, absolutely. And for the first time I've ever done an open house, I had like 4 families come in.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy,
I
right?
put my flags out. I put all of my open house signs out, and I was very impressed.
And walk the neighborhood too, right? So
And I walked the neighborhood.
Yeah, I remember when I first started teaching open houses, people were like, "Well, why are you marketing to the nosy neighbors?" I'm like, "Nosy who?" It's like, what? Like, who do you think's going to be your future sellers? They're like, I don't know. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I said, okay, look at the flyer and think about who this appeals to. So I'm a marketing expert, so I always think like, who's the audience I'm trying to target? And so I look at the flyer and I'm like, this wouldn't appeal to a buyer. It says the house was $382,000. So someone in the neighborhood gets that rolled up little flyer in their door. They open it up and they go, "Oh, that's my exact floor plan. I only paid $220 for it when I came here 10 years ago. It's worth $380. Shoot, I'm going to check that open house out and see if maybe my house looks as good or as or better than theirs."
And that's what I got from the next door neighbor.
Right.
And I actually put out the flyers. I put out the letters is what I did. The letter.
Those are pretty cool too. From listening to leads.
Yes.
Yep, and they have the barcode and they can sign up as well.
That's what I gave the neighborhood.
Yep, bingo. So now we have pre-made flyers. You never got to create any anymore. So,
exactly.
But it's crazy how much these tools work when you actually use them. So, but no, I'm happy. I know you had a closing last week as well.
Oh no, I didn't have a closing. That would have been an accident.
Oh, okay, no worries.
No, I didn't have a closing. I actually went under. We put an offer in. I took my buyers out, and we ended up putting another offer in. But my buyer had to do his fiance. We had to redo her scores again, and she did some foolishness. So we had to come up out of that one.
Yep, there you go. Always crazy, right?
Yeah. So they're not going to be ready again until December, until those scores, come back up again.
Yep. You just have to have that little come to Jesus meeting and be like, let me explain credit one more time.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then I'm getting leads too from OpCity. I'm getting a lot of rentals. What was it?
Okay. You signed up with OpCity?
Yes, I've been signed up for them for years, and actually last year, I don't know what happened, but they stopped sending me leads, and then all of a sudden, whoosh.
Well, a lot of agents are getting out the business, and I know I mentioned this to you guys, for years ago. We were with OpCity. Shane was ranked like number 7 out of 700 people in San Antonio. And so you would see he would get leads almost every single week. Then other agents that I had that were brand new in the industry didn't get any leads. And they were like, well, what's going on here? And then all of a sudden, October rolled around, November rolled around, and all of them started getting leads. I said, so what ends up happening is the really active people stop pushing, and now they're sending these leads to the people who aren't, typically going to get them. This is your time to shine and get your scores up so they can give them to you in the busy season too. So the leads come to you in different cycles, different seasons. And that's why I was mentioning, like, if you have a multitude of lead sources coming in, you're going to notice that as one slows down, another one picks up and vice versa. So yeah, as many lead sources you can find that are working for you and the return on investment's good, I highly recommend you handle as many as you can, have your system in place so you can handle as many leads as necessary to hit your goals.
Yes, and that's the part that I'm really, really I gotta get a hold of my leads, so that I won't lose them.
Yeah, and that's where the CRM comes in. I'm tempted to just tell people to start purchasing KV Core, simply because I know it does follow up, and I know for a fact it gets all the results you want. Lofty, I don't even know if the paid version would be any better than the one that we get for free, but one way or the other, a lot of people are like, they swear by KV Core. I've used it. I know it works pretty well, but I don't.
Yeah, I used to use KV Core before. I think Lofty is a little bit more difficult, a little bit.
Yeah,
I actually started using ConvertKit, and that is super easy, and it's free.
ConvertKit, okay.
And you can put your lead magnets on there too, even from listings to leads, if you wanted to.
Okay.
And it follows up with emails, or what about text messages?
You can put drip campaigns, no text.
Okay, that's not a bad choice. Okay, so ConvertKit's free. All right. Well, there's a new tool for everybody. I will definitely, if it's free, check it out for sure.
Can you text that to me?
ConvertKit.
Yeah.
Yep. You can, if you put in the chat, Tanya, that would be helpful too.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Lakeisha. Well, fantastic job. Yeah, thanks for all that feedback. And yeah, I'm glad everybody's hearing. Like, if you do the work, you'll get the results. And as Lakeisha's saying, now she's at that point where she needs a system to handle everything. See, that's where I can teach you how to drive a car when you're moving. I can't teach you how to drive it if you're parked. So now she's at that place where we're moving in the car pretty fast. She's like, uh-oh, how do I handle it when I'm going at this speed? Well, now we're going to get into those type of activities. So it's a lot easier for me to teach that when you're at the place where you're like, I got too many leads. How do I make sure I don't miss any? And that's a great conversation to have. I'll probably reach out offline, Lakeisha. We'll discuss some options, and then I'll post it to the community so everybody else can kind of learn what you gained from our conversation. All right, but thanks so much. It looks like you're headed out, and we'll go ahead and kind of wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to multitask, but yes, thank you.
All right, you got it. All right,
congrats on a good week.
Thank you.
All right, so there you have it. We had, even though it wasn't a whole lot of people, a lot of great information, right? It's crazy how much we learned just from anyone's wins for the week, right? And I'm hoping everybody sees why these events that we do are important, the tasks that we do are important, the assignments that we do are important. And again, as I started off with the conversation, how accountability is such a big deal. You show up on these meetings, a lot of people are going to say, yeah, I get on the meetings, I get inspired. Some are going to say, well, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. Well, keep coming. Eventually, it'll rub off on you. And again, it's better to have this white noise in your ear than to be listening to all that negative stuff that you see on Facebook and all other people are talking about how horrible the industry is and how we're going to hell in a handbasket and all this other crazy stuff. When every time we come here, people are winning. So that's kind of the message I want people to leave with today. I'll go into the mastermind for next week briefly, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. For anyone who's, we did an event yesterday in Austin, great turnout. The excitement level was kind of off the charts. Everybody, I did commercial leasing, and then we talked about the 5 keys for limitless listings. And I think the big thing that I got out of it was there's a little bit more excitement going on around the industry right now for people who are planning to stay. The people who are leaving are just disheartened. They're gone. But the ones who are staying are super excited about real estate, and they're looking for options. And so after reaching out. A couple of people probably on the call today. Hopefully they showed up in the live stream. But I wanted to make sure that everyone got to see what makes us different. This 52-week digital roadmap, I don't think there's anything like it anywhere in the industry. I'm not even finishing doing the entire thing. I've heard about everyone talking about their 90-day programs, their roadmaps for this, their roadmaps for that. Most of them last about 90 days max. This is 52 weeks. And the stuff that we talk about, I added the boot camp here as opposed to a separate classroom. And I want people to understand first and foremost, now I have an orientation video, it's an hour long, so I'm not going to get into this, but if you want that link, I'll send it out to you. And it goes over the orientation of using this. And it's an hour long. It talks about every day of the week, Monday, the first 7 days. It goes over the overview for this. Then I get into a little bit about organization. And then I walk through like why we're doing the Facebook branding cover, because it's all about consistency and congruency. You have to be able to put your brand together in a way that people, when they see you, no matter where they see you, online or offline, they know who you are based on your brand. We talk about farming, new builds as a specialty, how to use all these different resources. And I want everyone to know it doesn't matter whether you start week 1 or you're on week 18. If someone did the new build beast campaign week 12, because that's where they are, and they do that assignment and they come back and say, hey, I did the assignment and here's what happened. I can promise you everyone on the call is going to want to hear your story. You're not behind, you're not ahead. The way I designed it, it doesn't matter when you start. The only thing we're really not going to cover on the training is the boot camp. That's for people, if you're relatively new, then you're going to reach out to me. If you're at a 30% or mentorship or apprenticeship, you're going to come to me directly and ask these questions from this. That's not going to be something we bring up during our masterminds. The masterminds are for people, again, we want that positive vibe. We want to be able to share all the wins that everyone has and then look at the next assignment. So I designed it so that no matter where you start outside those 7 days, whatever wins you experience, you bring it back to the class or to the mastermind, and we all want to hear about it. Because you'll be surprised, not everybody does all the assignments, and even if everybody did, they always have different stories. So we like hearing them, just like you heard with Lakeisha. Everybody does open houses, but she said for the first time she used listening to leads, and look what happened. So that's kind of the conversation. Like, what are you learning as you're doing this, and what you share? If you hear it from other people other than me, sometimes it's going to help you remember it. I start to sound like the Charlie Brown teachers after a while, because you're like, man, you talk about everything. Like I know, but that's kind of the role I'm in. And if you hear it from other people, sometimes it'll stick better. Now moving forward to, she said week 18, we're on week 19. So if you haven't had a chance to do this assignment, it's all about local reviews. So let's say you're not comfortable getting on camera, right? And you're like, well, I don't want to do it all by myself. Well, then go interview someone. Maybe just have them talking and you asking questions. And, this is a script. Hello, everyone. I'm here at this establishment. If you like whatever that is, the item, try this, and I'll let you know what I think. So like say they go to an Italian restaurant or some mom and pop pizza shop, and they're like, if you like pizza, try out such and such, this pizzeria place, and let me know what you think. I got the blah, 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 and comment below on your favorite item. So something as simple as that, where you're like, I don't know exactly what I'm going to say or do. That's just one assignment. So you do that assignment, see how it goes, see if you pick up any business from it, see if you pick up any leads, and then you go from there. Now, going forward, you'll notice on week 20, I'm going to fill in the gaps on this, but again, this is an orientation, but the strategy is just like you put a listing sign in the ground when you market a home for the seller. Guess what you can do if you're the person who found the buyer? As soon as that house is sold and they get their keys, you can go to them and say, hey, I want to put a sign in the ground that says just sold. So just like you posted on Facebook telling everybody that it went from under contract to sold, to me, a lot of times that just shows up in front of a bunch of realtors. I'm like, that could be good, it could be bad, but what about putting it in the yard? Home sold by J Prime Realty Group. Call this number or text 24 hours, whatever the case may be. You want more information. So you put a sign in the ground that literally would generate phone calls. Now you have multiple homes that you've sold and you're on the buyer side. The people you're working with are going to be like, yeah, I don't mind, 30 days or so. I'll put it, hey, I'm putting it in the ground for 30 days and I'll take it out after that. But I just want to, put a sign in the ground saying I'll help you find a house. Of course, you don't want the listing agent's sign there. They're going to take it down. But if you're the person to help them find the buyer, and then you put that sign on the ground, there's an opportunity. So these are just more marketing strategies. It's a way for you to, if you can order signs from uzmarketing.com out of Houston. I think they still have like 99 signs for, good Lord, it used to be $99. It's probably 150 or something now, but you can get the 18 by 12 by 18s, not the big ones, but the 18 by 12s for $99 for 99 signs. Like I said, it might be 150 or 200 based on inflation because everything went up the last couple of years. But either way, that's a lot of signs. You don't have to order that many. You could order half that. You could order 20 of those. And again, just put them out. And once the house sells, who knows? You get a couple of phone calls. You sold 10 homes. You got 10 signs in the yards. You pick up 1 or 2 more leads that way. Again, another lead generation strategy for you to be able to pick up business. So, and then from there, week 21, target move up buyers, 22. We're going to talk about Revive and Curbio. So for anyone who has fixer up type homes, if you're thinking about using iBuyers or any of that stuff, then by all means, these are the companies you want to reach out to. They will fix the homes up for you and then charge the client at closing. So someone says, well, how do I get the most money? I don't want to get that investor special price. I don't want to get $275. I think I can get $350, and instead of walking away with, after my mortgage payment, my mortgage balance, instead of walking away with $100,000, I want to be able to walk away with $125,000. Okay, well, here's how you do that. And then they'll take their fee out and they go, even after they fix up the home, I'm still going to walk away with 125. Yeah, because we can get a lot more money when the house looks almost new versus the condition it's in right now. They're going to lowball you and try to do everything in their power to give you the lowest price possible. So Revive is one of those places. Curbio is another one, but this is a strategy we use. And again, I just want you guys to see, this, it's already planned out. Cash offers. If you're a listing agent and you're trying to figure out the fastest way to get listings, I'm telling you right now, guaranteed cash offers, 24 hours, offer pad, just write the script. When I'm writing the scripts for everybody, again, you can modify them, but once I have the script set up, all you got to do is learn how to market it, get the word out using Facebook, using Marketplace, whatever it is. And over time, you're going to start to see every one of these works. It doesn't matter if you pick up 1 lead a year or 1 lead a month, 1 lead a week. It's all these different resources that you combine. And eventually you'll say, you know what, I'm finally hitting that number that I wanted to hit. I'm closing 25 deals a year. I'm closing 50 deals a year. And you'll know, based on how much work it takes for each one of these lead sources, how long you want to spend doing that, and that's the key. Like, I want you to have as many different opportunities as possible. Just looking at some of these virtual open house, I'll get into that. Here's long form video. This is literally talking about how to market all the different loan programs. And we're going to get into that too. So all the 0 down type programs, these are the scripts you would use. If you want to do a long form video that lasts like 5 minutes, you would just go over each one of these and, put it in the teleprompter app, talk slowly, green screen it, and you're good to go. Then you're setting up the YouTube channel. I'm probably going to move this up to the very beginning. I think everyone should have a YouTube channel from start. And then again, it's 52 weeks of information. Some of this stuff, when you see it, it's literally going to be a calendar, like where to go. Now, this obviously would only work in San Antonio. Some of these communities might not even they might have closed out already. So you have to plug in your community and go record their models. So I'm going to tell you the best footage is always of the model, because that's what turns people's heads. And the more expensive the model, the better. It kind of stands to reason for people that if you can market a $1 million home, you can sell a $200,000 home. But if you market a $200,000 home, it doesn't stand to reason you could sell $1 million home. So the more expensive the home, the better when it comes to modeling and showing them off. Now, when you're running Facebook lead ads, yeah, you do a list of homes under X amount of dollars. All the strategies are a little bit different. But when you're thinking about video and YouTube and you want to, market new homes, the higher price, the better. I'd say in our area, maybe 500,000, 4 to 500,000 and up. And the other thing about that is you're going to also reach out to people that might own a home, because they're going to be move up buyers at that price range versus first time home buyers. And if they might have a home to list, you'll get the listing and you'll get the sale. So, all right, but that's kind of my run through for everybody. So you kind of know if you've never seen our program before, that's our program. You kind of got a chance to see what it's like to be part of the mastermind and why it's important. And hopefully for everyone that's new and all of the old folks, we always have a pretty good crowd and a lot of great stories, and I'm always glad to hear them. So with that, I'll wrap up my portion here and I'll let Tanya close it out for us. What you got for us, Tanya?
I'm just going to say the same thing. I mean, it's the power of accountability, everybody coming here. I think that we're coming up on Q4, so I can't believe next week is October already. So everybody continue to get all those leads in before the end of the year.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's create a December to remember.
Let's do it.
All right. All right, everybody. Appreciate you coming out, and we will have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. Have a good week. Bye, guys.